Most countries are affected by labor migration. In many rural places, the traditional extended family has been undermined by the need for family members to migrate to towns as an economic necessity. Migration, therefore, presents a major challenge everywhere to social and economic policy. Modern buildings have to achieve certain performance requirements, at least to satisfy those of building codes, to provide a safe, healthy, and comfortable environment. However, these conditioned environments demand resources in energy and materials, which are both limited in supply, to build and operate. The smoking ban is a public policy that includes criminal laws and health regulations that prohibit smoking in certain public places and workspaces. There are varying definitions of smoking employed in this legislation. The strictest definitions define smoking as being the inhalation of any tobacco substance, while the loosest define smoking as possessing any lit tobacco product. The unique characteristic of online shopping environments is that they allow vendors to create retail interfaces with highly interactive features. One desirable form of interactivity from a consumer perspective is the implementation of sophisticated tools to assist shoppers in their purchase decisions by customizing the electronic shopping environment to their individual preferences. The slow fade of radioactive elements following a supernova allows astrophysicists to study them at length. But the universe is packed full of flash, in the pan-transient events lasting only a brief time, so quick and hard to study they remain a mystery. The most widely accepted model for planet formation, known as the nebular hypothesis, begins with a swirling disk of gas and dust, leftover material from the birth of a nearby star. At some point in time, gravity triumphs over the pressure supporting this cosmic dust, which then starts to rotate, quickly collapsing under its own gravity. The soil disturbances by animals affect both physical and chemical soil properties. These disturbances create vegetation-free areas, shape soil topography, alter soil density and structure, change infiltration properties and soil moisture, influence the nutrient situation, and contribute to carbon cycling. I've seen no evidence to suggest that students are not able to complete their courses because they're failing in English, yet they're being passed by the universities, she said. I've not seen any evidence to back that up. International education is one of our largest exports. It's our fourth largest export, and it's in the interest of our universities to maintain very high standards because their reputation is at stake. English colonies emerged along the eastern seaboard for a variety of reasons. People, primarily men, originally migrated to Virginia to find gold and silver to make a quick profit. After it became evident that there were no precious metals in the area, men came to Virginia to start cultivating cash crops like tobacco. The scientists say this is the first documented instance of nectar that attracts a particular animal assistant being produced outside of a nectary. In fact, the observed nectar bleeding might actually be an early system that evolved to include the nectaries found in other plants today. There are three main interpretations of the English Revolution. The longest-lasting interpretation was that the revolution was the almost inevitable outcome of an age-old power struggle between Parliament and Crown. The second sees it as a class struggle and a lead-up to the French and other revolutions. As climate change brings more wildfires to the western United States, the rare fungal infection, valley fever, has also been on the rise. It causes coughs, fevers and chest pain and can be deadly. The culprit fungi thrive in soils in California and the desert Southwest. Wildfires appear to stir up and send the soil-loving fungi into the air, where they can enter people's lungs. An economic depression is a period of sustained, long-term downturn in economic activity in one or more economies. It is more severe than a recession, which is a slowdown in economic activity over the course of a normal business cycle. Economic depressions are characterized by their length, and by abnormally large increases in unemployment rate. The main difference on this occasion was that the colonists were not just fighting against a king who was determined to use his own prerogative. They were also fighting against a parliament that believed that it and it alone should raise taxes and control revenues, rights which had been won in the previous century. Permafrost is ground that is frozen year-round. In the Arctic, ice-rich permafrost soils can be up to 260 feet thick. Due to human-caused warming of the atmosphere from greenhouse gas emissions, the steady thawing of the permafrost is currently taking place where the upper layer of seasonally thawed soil is gradually getting thicker and reaching deeper into the ground. Roman writers and orators began to expand their imaginative and intellectual horizons and refine the Latin language through the study of Greek literature. Early Roman literature had two kinds: the recording and examination of public life and behavior through life stories of famous men, and the particularly Roman art of satirical comedy and drama. If a country can specialize in a certain area, then can benefit from economies of scale and lower average cost. This is especially true in the industry with high fixed costs or that require a high level of investment. The benefit of the economy of scale will ultimately lead to lower prices for consumers and with efficiency for exporting firms. Compared to chimpanzees, our closest evolutionary cousins, humans are particularly prone to developing advanced carcinomas-the type of tumors that include prostate, breast, lung and colorectal cancers even in the absence of known risk factors, such as genetic predisposition or tobacco use. The recent study helps explain why. Philosophy of education is a label applied to the study of the purpose, process, nature, and ideals of education. It can be considered a branch of both philosophy and education. Education can be defined as the teaching and learning of specific skills, and the imparting of knowledge, judgment, and wisdom. Some people are at higher risk of developing obesity because they possess genetic variants that affect how the brain processes sensory information and regulates feeding and behavior. The findings support the growing body of evidence that obesity is a disease whose roots are in the brain.